All right. I believe that my microphone is unmuted. We have some lovely Warhammer themed music playing in the background. And today I have for you a bloodthirster riding a juggernaut, which I honestly am very excited to be painting. And we're going to get started on him today in a little bit of behind the scenes action. But before we do, I just want to say hello to everybody. Thank you guys for joining me. And I must also show you what happened just before I was getting ready to stream. So I was getting my whole desk prepped, I was grabbing my water, paper towel, getting a fresh palette to work on.
Audio sounds wonderful.
Excellent, good. I'm glad the audio is sounding wonderful. So I was getting all of my stuff together, and I was going and I just grabbed some of my paintbrushes to move them, and look what happened. I lifted it up by the fennel or whatever this is called, and it just fucking separated. Like, oh my goodness. And it's a nice Citadel color brush too. Oh, whoops. I guess the glue must have just failed or something. I have no idea. Like, it kind of sticks back on there, so I actually think I can use it, but now it comes apart. And I don't know. I don't think it's designed to do that. So just be careful, I guess, with your Citadel color brushes. Yep, Games Workshop and their quality, absolutely. Good evening, 411 miniature maintainer. Sorry, 411 maintainer. Also, hello, Rabbit Burner. Good evening to you as well. You know, honestly, I probably could fix it with just a little bit of, like, CA glue. You're right. Hello, Mr. J. Welcome. Robert Waters. Hello. Good to see you. Cam. I really should. I should just probably glue it back together to really secure it. It made me laugh. Because it popped off so easily. Like, I felt like I barely pulled. And it just went up. All right, so we have this Khorne boy to work on today. This is not for this week's video. No. I'm actually getting ahead. Mind-blowing, I know. This week, we're actually going to have, I've got some question and answer, or I've got some questions that I've gathered, so I'm going to be answering them on Friday. And I'm really excited for this because we hit 4,000 subscribers on the channel, which, I mean, I kind of expected us to eventually get there, but I hadn't been really, like, paying attention how close we were getting, and then suddenly it just happened. And I was like, yes! Woo! It's, you know, because I'm into Warhammer 40k, so the number, it ties in. Woo! So I thought it'd be fun. We'd do a question and answer. Ask for a refund. I've had the brush for, I think, a little bit too long for the business to actually give me a legitimate refund for the damages. I don't think they're gonna do that. But we're gonna work on this boy today, and we're gonna get ahead because that's important. So what I thought we would do first off, and what I would work on today with you, is the grisaille, because I wanted to go ahead and apply that technique to him because I think it'll end up looking really cool on the red and yellows and oranges that I want to paint onto the armor. But then I'm going to go back over, I think, the like the metal trim with an actual metallic, because this is Khorne. I feel like he needs true metallics in there. The metal is in his blood, and he likes blood. You know, it's the blood god. Thank you, Rabbit Burner. It was really exciting to see that happen. And it blew my mind. I am so grateful to everybody who has been subbed, whether you're brand new or you've been here forever. It doesn't matter. I appreciate all of it because it's fantastic. But yeah, so we're gonna work on our grisaille today, and I need to grab I had it. Where did I put my dry brush? Oh, there it is. It's in front of my face. So I've got my Army Painter dry brushes. I actually really like these, like, round tipped dry brushes. I don't always know if I get them fully clean the best, because I feel like there's a little bit of residue, but I've never seen it transfer to a model where I didn't want it. So I think it's fine, and I've not been too concerned about it. Now, what I need, actually, is not the dry brush first. I actually do need a normal brush, because when I do the grisaille technique, aka slap chop, as a lot of people like to call it, and Am I going to put out... Oh, Robert Waters, you asked a great question. Am I going to put out a video on my thoughts about WrestleMania and the sale? I don't think I'm going to specifically be putting out my thoughts, like a video on that specifically. However, when it comes to wrestling content, Chaos Cultist and I actually have been thinking about maybe having the podcast idea that we had focus on our wrestling, like, fandom rather than the Star Wars fandom or the Lego stuff that we were doing previously. So that might be something that we try. So maybe be looking forward to that. Like, I don't know when we're going to actually do it. I think we're going to do it closer to like the next probably AEW pay-per-view, because I'll just tell you right now, I loved Night 1. I thought Night 2 was garbage, with the exception of the IC title, and I thought Bianca and Asuka did a fantastic job. But other than that, I really felt like everything else on there was either filled with injuries, which was unfortunate, but still made everything kind of suck, or it had the absolute worst call ever, because I think Cody should have won. Where is my Nuln Oil? Okay, so what we're going to be doing for the Grisaille, for the slap chop that I like to do. So I like to prime my models in a neutral gray, and then I like to go over it with some Nuln Oil or just whatever black wash that you want to use. It really doesn't matter. I just happen to have a lot of Citadel paints, so I use it a lot. So we're going to put some Nuln Oil on that, and then after that, I'm actually going to do a dry brush, like a heavy one, using some just Army Painter white. So we're going to get started on that. What would my wrestling name be? I don't know. I'd have to think about that. I don't think I'd ever actually be able to wrestle. I would get, like, I have asthma. So I, like, doing long, like, athletic type things for extended periods of time, aka even, like, a 5-minute wrestling match, would probably kill me. So I don't think it's something that I've really thought about specifically, but, I'll think about it and maybe I'll get back to you on it. Hello, the Mumba Games. How are you doing today? I hope it's well. So I'm not going to water this wash down too much as we apply it. I really kind of want it to sit a little heavy on there because we can brighten everything back up with our dry brush. But if I do notice that it's pooling, like, excessively, that's when we'll mess with some things. But I really want it to kind of sit into those grooves kind of heavily, so we might be a little slow about this. Also, how is that looking for you guys? Can you see that super well? Should I move it closer? I haven't actually, I don't know if I've adjusted my focus since my last tutorial. Hot A? That might be a good name, I agree. That could work, that could work. A terrible Rick Rude gimmick? That could be fun. Did you just want to, like, twirl your hips? Isn't that what he did all the time? Make sure to get this everywhere. Hello, John! Welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad you could make it. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Looks good? Okay, excellent. Thank you, thank you. I'm gonna be a little heavier around the, like, recessed areas where there may be actual more shadow because it's got an overhang or just a deeper fold in the middle. I really like these demon models, honestly. Like, I don't know how many of you guys have picked up some of these Khorne demon models, but the armor is always really fun to work with. Because it's generally a nice mix of, like, some big flatter areas where you can kind of play with your shading or flatter just panels to work with, and then you've got a lot of texture because of all of the iconography and everything on them. And it gives you plenty of ample opportunity to play with blood, like textures and such. Technical paints, which is always fun. Now, we're not really looking for evenness here either, so I'm not going to worry if we're super splotchy, although I will admit, I find that the Citadel shades do a really good job of tending to not be super splotchy. Like, I feel like they always flow pretty well, even just straight out of the pot. I agree. I think Khorne stuff always looks really great painted up as well. To be fair, I think most things look pretty amazing painted up, but, like, there's something about, like, that red bronze color palette that just looks really cool on these models. Like, they did a really good job of matching color. Oops, I'm slightly off camera. Sorry about that. Matching color to the feeling of Khorne, like the rage. It works really well. Although I feel like they did that pretty well for all of the Chaos Gods, to be fair. Like, Slaanesh being purple and pinks makes sense. Tzeentch with his blue also makes sense, and then Nurgle with green. So, I mean, it's not like it's that hard for them to do, I suppose. But I appreciate the cohesion between their designs and the color palettes. Alright, we need a lot more Nuln Oil. How many is a bunch for you? Is that like you built like 2 or 3, or you built like 12 of them and never painted them? Because I could kind of understand if you built like 12 or more, like like a larger number like that, and you're just like, you know what? Maybe I don't want to paint these. Maybe I find this a little daunting. But if you built like 2, I feel like, I mean, I guess maybe if you had other projects, I can understand that. You know what? I am not going to judge you for not painting them. I thought about it, but then I decided, no, it's not worth it. Sometimes you just can't get around to painting things, and I understand that. I have so many projects that I have not gotten around to that I've built, so I hear you. It's not bad, man. It's not bad. Nice. Yeah, there's some great ways to do some, like, blood effects very inexpensively using, like, PVA glue and some paint. I'm gonna be probably playing with, I'm actually, ooh, there's like a hair on here, hold on. Where are my tweezers? Probably want these ones with the needle nose. Get out of here, fiber. Oh, I just split it in half, hold on. Sometimes when I prime things, I get little strings. Oh, what I was saying, though, is I'm probably going to end up using the Blood for the Blood God paint, because I admit I really do like the color tone of that particular paint. It's a really nice, deep, rich red color, and I just think it works perfectly as, like, fresh blood, which I just imagine, you know, Khorne is just constantly covered in fresh blood, so it works perfectly. Alright, we're gonna go... I really want the ridges and such on him to pop, so we're gonna kind of go a little heavier here. I'm also gonna really let his eyes just kind of... do I want them dark, or should I leave them a little brighter so I can paint them? Nah, I think I kind of like the darkness. Because I can make them look like they're, like, coal. Ooh, yeah, I actually like that idea. I'm also, so not only am I going to be playing with the blood effects paints, I'm also still going to be using some of my weathering powders, because I thought the soot color tone might be really fun on, like, places where it might look like fire is shooting out, or just to emphasize the hot element of them. Hi, Nightman Nemeth. I'm so glad you're having a good time painting along with me. Always glad to have you here. Ah, got it, got it, got it. I have not had the airbrush out recently, actually. It got a little colder, and I like to have it, I like to use it near where I have some ventilation, and I haven't wanted to have the windows or doors open because it's been very cold. But we are actually starting to approach some more warmer weather, and I have been wanting to do something with terrain in the near future, so I might bust it out for that. There's something that I really enjoy about hand painting, though, that I just don't get the same when I'm working with an airbrush. Like, I don't dislike using the airbrush, and I definitely find it very helpful, but I really kind of like it for larger coverage rather than details and that kind of thing. And there's something about the effect sometimes that you can get from it. Like, there's like a certain appearance airbrush models can take on that really makes them look airbrushed. And I don't know if I always like that. So I tend to, like, I just don't immediately think about it when I'm working on projects as, like, how to prime or even use it as my, use it to paint stuff. But I do want to explore it a bit more, I will admit. Like, I really have not used it much since the last time I covered it on the channel. And so exploring it a bit more and going back to it and actually, like, gaining some more experience with it, I would like to. It's just a matter of finding time, I honestly, because, like, that's really the problem with everything. There's so many things I'd love to try, but it's just a matter of finding time to do it all. I'm gonna spread some of this around a little bit. I feel like I got a little bit heavy on the sword. And there's some, like, random sections of this boy that I haven't got yet. Like his chest, apparently. Completely missed that. Let's get the other side of the sword. Move some stuff around. Alright, that's looking a bit better. Alright, that looks more even, and I'm gonna darken down here a bit more. I feel like the feet should be a little darker. They're gonna end up being dirtier anyways, so why not start working on that immediately at our prep stage, you know? You know, Nightman Nemeth, that's really not something that you should ask a lady. Probably not something you should ask a lady. Gotta keep some things a mystery. Ah, interesting. That's like, so you build a booth. Into a bath. Okay, interesting. Well, like I said, things are going to be getting warmer soon, so I'll probably try to break out the airbrush a bit more going forward. I'm just really kind of waiting for the weather to change. It's really been kind of my whole thing with a lot of my projects recently, is I've just needed the weather to change. No problem, just keep things polite. I have built some Gundam models before. SRT. Meow Mix. What an excellent name. I haven't built that many. It's been a while. So I built a Zaku not too long ago, like last year. But that's the last thing that I've built since really, like, I was much younger. Gundam models were something that I used to do a lot more when I was a kid. Sort of fell out of it, but I have bought actually a number of them because I went to a couple of anime conventions this past year and had a lot of fun with them. Picked up a bunch of models, but haven't actually gotten around to building them. But, you know, honestly, that might be something to do this summer in regards to, like, some stream time. Like, doing a bunch of, like, model and kit building. Because I've been wanting to, I just don't, the videos don't necessarily do well. And at least when I'm doing like those kinds of larger projects, I do like to make it so that I can make content about it. But you know, it might be something to explore a bit more, like get a more modern model. Because I have, the last thing that I did was just I think it was a Zaku model that had been around for not like a super long time, but long enough. Oh, and there's that new, like, is it Ariel, I think it's called? For that, I don't remember what the newest Gundam series is, but it really, really reminds me, like, I've watched a small amount of it, and it gave me such, revolutionary, words. It gave me such Revolutionary Girl Utena vibes, and I loved it. Like, it was in the best ways. So, I know that there are some kits, if they're not out already, that were supposed to be coming out for that series. Honestly, and that might be fun, because I really do like that series. I need to finish watching that, too. I have so many things I need to watch. Is today? Today is Tuesday. Today is Tuesday. Everything's fine. I don't have a Mandalorian episode that I thought I missed. I'm really sad that Bad Batch is over, but I'm also kind of glad that Bad Batch is over because my heart hurts after it. And I just don't want to deal with it. Okay, I'm feeling pretty good about where this is at. So I'm going to let it dry so that we can maybe chat a little bit more directly. Okay, and remind me, because I'm not super familiar with the terminology, is the HG, are those the, like, smaller kits, and then the, I don't remember what the H stands for, but I'm assuming the MG is master grade, right? So is HG just, like, the step below the master grade? Because, like, I would prefer to get the master grade kit for it myself, and if that's not out yet, then I'll probably hold off and maybe try doing some streaming content or something around it once that's out. Because that would be really cool. Like I said, I'd love to do some more Gundam stuff. Nightman Nemeth, it's not really up to me whether or not I go on Russell Talk or not. That's really up to them. I don't get to invite myself onto their programming. They invite me. So if something comes up where, like, my input might be a little bit more relevant, I do hope that they bring me back on. I absolutely love hanging out with them and being able to chat with them. But, they're doing their in-person stuff. I love what they're doing right now with all of their, like, actual storyline content with the hot tag and everything. Can't wait to see where that is going. So we'll see, but probably not in the immediate future. Really, I hope that I can also get it back on No Rules Bar at some point when they do some of their, like, online stuff, but they're also doing a lot of in-person things, so we'll see what happens. Maybe one day I'll be able to go and just, like, visit them and be part of something. Hello, Simon! Welcome to the stream! Hope you're having a lovely day in the UK. You painted a Bob Ross painting a while ago? That sounds fun. You know, I've never actually tried to follow his tutorials, even though I've watched, like, hundreds of them. And I'm so glad to see, because I think it's still happening. I think that the Twitch page that was just showing all the repeats of his tutorials is still going. Like, I think that just kept going, which is really, really cool. All right, we're just waiting for this guy to dry so that I can start doing my dry brush, but it might take a little bit of time because sometimes the washes... Did I completely miss? No, it just dried very lightly. We might even do a second wash. Yeah, we're gonna do other things to it. So after we get the dry brushing done, my actual plan is I want to use contrast paints on the armor to help get some nice reds in there. Maybe do some, like, maybe wet blending. I haven't fully decided to get some, like, orange and red mixes, or maybe even actually just doing yellow and red and letting the mix in between create the orange. That might be the better way to do it if I do decide to do a wet blend. Yeah, I think that might be actually, if I do a wet blend, which I haven't decided if I'm going to yet, but if I do decide to do the wet blend, I think I'm going to do a yellow and a red. Probably, honestly, probably just Blood Angels red for a brighter pop. And then which yellow would I want to do? I'm debating between, like, a Yondan for, like, a classic, just a yellow that I'm very familiar with. But I also have, which one is this? Bad Moon yellow, which I remember being a bit more opaque, like less transparent than some of the other ones. Like if I recall, this version, like this color of contrast, is one of the ones that doesn't actually show as much of a obvious highlight, mid-tone, and shadow. It's a little bit more flat, if you will, and that could work to my advantage on the armor for a wet blend. So if I do, I might use that color tone. Oh, well, hello, and thank you for watching from Detroit. Lacera Games! Welcome. I don't think I saw that you popped in, but I am so glad that you are here. It's always lovely to have you. Dude, I hear exactly what you're saying, by the way, about the Bob Ross being able to put you to sleep. That's partially why I had some of it on, is because I used to use it to, like, help me get to sleep at night. Because it's just so calming. Like, and he just has this particular tone that really works for me to help just, like, lull me into a passed out stage. Yeah, which is interesting, because I actually really like, because they have an Iron Jaws yellow contrast paint as well, don't they, Red Panda 7, which is, I honestly, it's one of my favorite yellows, but it is very different from the box art. I would agree with you. They have very weird, like, Citadel does this, and honestly, all of the companies do this, because they're just trying to make themselves stand out to draw your attention so that you'll buy their paints. But I do feel like the naming conventions for Games Workshop's colors in particular are sometimes wildly off the mark, in regards to, like, what they end up calling things. I can't remember what it was specifically. There was, like, one... I don't remember which color, like, I don't have a lot of the base color tones. But, like, you know what? I have this layer color tone, this Dorn yellow, which is super pale, and I'm not gonna lie, this is not what I think of when I think of Dorn yellow. I don't know if this is meant to be, like, his hair color tone, but, like, I don't picture this anywhere on Dorn's armor in any capacity. I just don't think it would get this. I mean, maybe, I guess, if you're doing, like, a non-metallic gold, you would need this color. But it doesn't quite make sense to me. I feel like they're not always like, you see the color name and you're like, that's not what I would picture. It's close, but it's not, like, quite what I would picture. Oh, thank you. Alright. Is this dry? Nope, it's not dry at all. Happy little miniatures. Yep, we're painting some happy little miniatures today, guys. Whoop. Oh, that's just a very deep shadow because of the reflection of the light. I got really panicked. I thought I had, like, a really dark, like, just black stain of paint there, and I was going to be very, very concerned. But it's fine. It's actually, everything is fine. Do I want to do any more? I feel like too much paint has actually slid off of the back of the boy. So I actually am going to pull some of my shade back out, and we're going to layer it on a little bit more controlled. Just to, like, fill in around those bumps. Because, again, if we get, like, splotchiness, it doesn't matter. I'm going to be doing a dry brush over top of it to bring highlights back out anyways. I just really do want the shadows to be obvious. Like, I kind of want to push the color tones a little bit. You know, I just realized I don't need to do the wet blend. I was planning on doing a dry brush to bring out some yellows and oranges anyways, so I think I'm just gonna go straight red. Yeah, because that'll be a little bit easier. And I don't actually think the value, like the time spent on doing a wet blend, is going to be valuable enough to justify the process. Like, to actually justify the time spent on it. I also want to make sure these spines get a little bit more definition. Go. Do a little spot shading to bump up our contrast. I'm gonna get a little bit more shade in there. feel like the armor can definitely be a little darker, along with a... You know, sometimes it's hard to tell where the armor is and where his flesh is, but I do think that is all armor. I think we're ending up... Yeah, I think we're in Mechanicus music, and I love it. God, it's such a beautifully, like, sounding game. It's fun to play, too, to be fair. How many of you guys are excited for the Chaos Dwarfs coming to Total War Warhammer 3? Yeah, no, Red Panda, I completely agree with you. I think Bad Moon is more flat. Thank you for, like, backing up my own thoughts on that, because I completely agree. There's a couple of colors in the new contrast line, like, of the 2.0 colors. They definitely had some... And I don't necessarily think this is inherently bad. I just thought it's something to... you know, note as you're using the paints, because not all of them are going to always behave exactly the same way as all the other colors. And there were definitely some in that set that had way less transparency and therefore a flat quality to them. I completely agree with you. I'm just gonna hold that like that to let that paint settle into the spines on this side. Yeah, it's doing fine on the other side. Actually, almost a little too heavy. There we go. All right. There we go. I have been into wargaming since college. And what got me into it was just going to so at my college when I was there, I ended up at the Gamers Guild, which is what they called it. And I had actually shown up to play D&D because I had heard about D&D, and I had heard about, like, war games and some other, like, board games and such, too. But, I had really been interested in D&D, but I had never really known anybody who played it when I was in, like, high school or anything. Like, I just never found anybody that I actually played games. So, and if there probably were. I just probably was too, like, shy to talk to them. So, I went there, ended up really liking it, and ended up seeing all the wargaming happening, and really just got drawn in from there. But then, shortly after college, so like a year after college, I really dropped out of gaming again. And then it wasn't until, like, I don't know, probably at this point 6 years ago, when I really got back into it. And I can tell you what got me back into it was contrast paint releasing. Because I actually, when I played previously, I did not paint my armies much at all. I attempted to, but I hated the process. And I just didn't find it enjoyable. And I never felt like anything looked good for what I was working on. So I really didn't want to keep doing it. So, but when contrast paint came out, it functioned like a medium like that I was more familiar with and actually enjoyed working with, which is ink. And so it really drew me back into the hobby side. I do. I do think this is specifically blue tack, which what I'm using right now, but I've used a lot of different brands to help stick my models to my handles. Honestly, like, if you don't have easy access to blue tack, like, or you just don't want to order online, go to a hardware store or just even to, like, a store that will sell picture framing material. Because the material, the museum putty stuff that you use to secure objects on mantles to the surface in case of earthquakes, works really well, just as well as blue tack. Used that stuff for years on my models. I think this just was sent... It was either sent to me or I grabbed it to just see if it was better. And I didn't really find it to be better. So really just, like, find one that you really like. Yeah, no, I am going to be dry brushing some whites onto this Red Panda 7. I'm going to go with the Grisaille effect to get us started with our, you know, painting process. That was just a little heavy there. I'm going to pull a little bit of paint back. Don't need it to be quite that dark. Yeah, but it's almost dry. I just don't really want to dry brush until it's actually fully dry. Because otherwise we'll just smear things. And then our shadows will look kind of smudgy. And not in like a fun or like intentional sort of way, but in a, oops, you smudged your paint while you were working on it and didn't let it dry far enough. I mean, I don't think Bray Wyatt's necessarily being wasted in WWE. I just don't think that they've decided to do anything interesting with him. And I think he actually got injured again. Or something. Something happened and he has stepped away from my understanding, but I don't really know, like, why. But we'll see. Hello, Marcos from Chile. Welcome to the stream. I hope you're having a lovely day. Do feel free to let me know what projects you might be working on in the comments or in the chat. We're not on YouTube. I mean, we're on YouTube, but we're live streaming right now, and I need to remember that. I'm just going to take a drink of water real quick. Yeah, I will, like, just speaking to WrestleMania, like, it's very disappointing to me to see how much immediately changed as soon as Vince started to come back. And the fact that he has been given a certain level of power again because of the buyout, it bums me out. Like, I was actually, like, starting to get back into WWE because I had fallen out for a while and had strictly just watched AEW for a really long time. And now I'm kind of back at that point where I really don't want to watch WWE right now because what they're doing bothers me. And honestly, like, even outside of the absolute garbage finish to night 2, there were three injuries on night 2. I don't know what happened to Shayna's foot, but something happened to Shayna because in the tag match, her and Ronda showed up, did like 1 or 2 moves, I think, disappeared to be on the outside for like the 80% longer of the match, came in briefly to win it, and as soon as Shayna came back in, one of her boots was off and she was limping. So I don't know what the fuck happened, but like, so Shayna got injured near the very beginning. Then you had Finn getting busted open with the ladder. Terrible. Like, but then also, like, would have been totally fine for the style of match that they were doing, and as soon as they knew that he was okay, they should have just let things continue more quickly, because it really made the whole situation be like, we're gonna have the demon versus the devil in hell in a cell, but as soon as somebody starts bleeding, oh god, pull everything to a absolute halt. We gotta make sure, like, and I appreciate wanting to make sure that the wrestlers are safe and okay. But I feel like you can do that in a way that doesn't absolutely just disrupt the flow of your live show. And I feel like WWE, of all people, should be able to do that with the just sheer volume of experience they have in successfully doing that other times. So it felt like a weird match there, but he did still get, like, injured in a way that was not planned, so not great. And then fucking Shane McMahon, like, waltzes his way right back into the company, only to waltz his way on a stretcher right back out because he fucking tore, I think, his quad, just like his father did. Which, just, holy shit. So, like, overall, and then we have the final main event, which was just a massive disappointment. Like,
there are unsubstantiated rumors that Bayley is out.
Oh, is there?
Yes.
Yeah, I had heard some floating rumors of that as well, and I do not blame her. Of Bayley also possibly being out,
Unconfirmed,
completely unconfirmed, totally rumors, but it would not surprise me if it actually ended up being true, because
there have been rumors floating all day, and an hour ago Dakota Kai tweeted out, "I love you, Bayley." few other women also added to that / retweeted it, and the rumor had already been floating around before that. I don't know. I just know her best friend left, so...
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it would not...
Well, no, Carmela's her best friend.
No, Carmela, you're right. Carmela is... Well, I don't know if they're actually still friends, like, in real life. Yeah. So, like, I don't know. It just... It would be interesting if 2 of the 4 horsewomen were gone. Because they didn't want to work in WWE for reasons. The reasons we all know. Thank you, Thanius. I am so glad that you were enjoying the music. We are just listening to a collection of 40K themed soundtrack music. So I think these are from like Dawn of War, and we had some Mechanicus stuff playing earlier. So should be lots of fun Warhammer themed tracks for us as we work on our bloodletter. Bloodthirster? Bloodthirster. I'm sorry. I think I said the wrong. I gave you the wrong name, friend. There's still so much. Please, dry faster. Now let's just pull some of this paint up. It's a bit excessive, which is why it's taking so long to dry. Also, there is another fiber. How dare you? And then on top, so back to just going back to the wrestling stuff. So, and then on top of a shit night too. Everything that they did yesterday on Raw, which I did not watch. I intentionally did not watch it because I did not want to give them my views. But I watched Wrestle Talk this morning to see what the hell happened. And it doesn't make it better for me. Brock, like, beating Cody up does not make it better for me. It just continues to make a wrestling character that I actually really like. Like, I like Cody Rhodes as a character. I want him to fucking honor his father. Please. Just let him honor his dad. Like, why is this so hard for them to let him do? To let anybody do? Like, it makes me so mad. And I want the feel-goodness of that. I wanted Cody to win so that he and Brandy, his baby, and then -1 with Amanda, and I apologize, but I can't remember Amanda's other son's name, but I wanted them to all be up there with him to celebrate on the grandest stage of them all, you know, which would have been great. And then like a polka dot, yellow and black polka dot banner or something to drop from the ceiling to finally honor Dusty in a way that like is over the top and ridiculous, but he deserves. And we didn't get that. We got Roman Reigns retaining because of a bullshit interference on 2 people's part, Heyman and Solo Sikoa's. It's bullshit. It's just bullshit. Marcos, I enjoy painting... Oh, that is a difficult question, actually. So I assume by miniatures you mean like... Are you asking do I enjoy painting like miniatures versus like models? Like historical models more? Or are you asking do I like painting like infantry versus vehicles more? Because if you're asking if I like painting infantry versus vehicles more, my heart right now is saying vehicles. Because there's just something like fun about painting something really large and having a little bit more freedom to make mistakes and play around with that. Whereas when I'm painting infantry, I feel like I need to be a little bit more clean, a little bit more like controlled, and that sometimes isn't as fun, especially if you're doing like batch painting, you're doing a lot of stuff. But if you're talking about painting like miniatures versus military models, I've not actually painted any military models yet. Like for example, I've not painted any of my Tamiya kits that I've built. I've only ever built them. So I don't actually have context to give you which one I prefer because I've not done one of them. Also, Luca, yes, blood for the blood god. Apologies, I dried my throat out completely in doing that. Not as bad as I almost did, but I still managed to do it a little bit. All right, infantry versus vehicles. I think right now it's vehicles. Really what it is I like painting right now the larger models. So even though this isn't really like a vehicle, because he's a big chunky boy, with lots of surface area to play with, I'm really enjoying it. Last week, I painted up a battlefield ordnance, and I really enjoyed that because it was large, but I also did get to still work on some infantry. So like, it's really dependent on what kind of model I think it is, like what kind of miniature it is that I enjoy painting it more. But I think overall I would say vehicles right now, or just anything larger, because I like painting large monsters too. 10th edition has me pretty hyped because I am actually very excited to try painting up some NIDs. I've only painted 3. Were they... I'm trying to remember what type of like infantry it was. What comes in the I'm like blanking on this and I feel so foolish for it. In Space Hulk, what are the Tyranids that come in that? That's what I've painted. I've painted 3 of those. And that's all I've done. I am in the US. To answer your question, Owen, I live in West Coast US. Oh, thank you. I normally can do... listen, in the video, I promise, we'll do a full big yell of blood for the blood god. Sometimes I just have to be more prepared for it. I should have been prepared for it. I'm painting some Khorne demons. Dry model. Dry. I really do need to get... This is why I need a blow dryer. For like these steps when I'm doing like a grisaille and I really don't care if it spreads around a little bit. I just want it to dry. Just gonna wave a hand at it. Unfortunately, the one that I have is older and I'm worried that the heat would actually melt the plastic a little bit. Because it's huge. Armor is so much fun to paint. Although it's really weird to me because like there's caveats to that for me. I am not a huge fan of painting Space Marines. I find their armor mildly boring to paint because it's a little too flat and repetitive. But like Chaos, for example, love painting their armor. If the armor is, if it's like a more elaborate character for a Space Marine unit or literally any other type of armor, I really enjoy it because they tend to be a little bit less humdrum. Like, I don't know what it is about Space Marine armor. Just don't always find it the most, like, amazing to paint. Oh, you know, that's a great idea, actually. Heat lamps for hatching eggs. Now, it doesn't heat up, like, that's not going to heat up the plastic too much, right? Have you tried it yourself, specifically? Hello, Cadian Lord. How are you doing today? Hopefully well. I am just trying to air dry my wash a little bit faster because I've been waiting on it for what feels like ages. And I just need his feetsies to dry. And his eyeball, please dry. My goodness. Well, at least I have you guys to keep me company while I wait. Alright. It might be something I check out. Because I need a solution for especially for during streams, but just in general. It would be nice to have like some way to be able to dry these guys a little bit faster. But I do really like the effect I'm getting, and I think once we get the dry brush going to brighten everything back up, it's gonna look pretty sick. And we're going to be delicate with our dry brush. We're probably going to take our time on it because I don't want to go too heavy too quickly. I really want to get a little bit more of a gradual buildup with this so that we have some smoother transitions. I think that'll look really nice. Silver Scratch Built Productions, I don't know if I said hi to you either. I apologize for your buffering problems. But hello. Hello to you now. Hello. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Hope your buffering problems get better and everything ends up working out for you. You know, I could actually, Marcos. That's a great idea. Maybe I would feel so guilty using my airbrush simply to dry other paints instead of actually like to push paint onto the model. But it's not a bad idea. I actually kind of like it. Fanning for the painting gods. Exactly. Oh, you know what? That's a great idea. I actually have a fan. Aha! And that big old pile of collection of things. There we go. This is not what I expected to be using this for. But you know what? It works. I am rolling brushes around my desk. But it is helping it dry. I see it. Holy cow. I'm completely off camera. Hold on. Do you guys hear my palette paper? It's a Khorne Juggernaut! Yes. Yes, yes, yes it is. Dude, I actually have some of the old lead ones. From like... I think I looked it up once. I think they're from like the 80s. But I can't remember now. I almost started fanning myself. I need to fan the Khorne Juggernaut. And a little bloodthirster on his back. Dry, you magnificent beast. Dry! Oh, my arm's getting tired. Hold on, let me switch arms. Oh, this is harder with my left hand. This is my not dominant hand. Oop, whoop, whoop. There we go. You guys want to see the light moving on him as I'm flashing. Okay, I'm gonna maybe not do that in front of the light. Sorry for the slight flashing there, everybody. Hopefully it wasn't too bad. I would have to move it, like, I'm actually on my laptop, so it would be a little harder for me to put it in front of my PC fan. Swamp Cat, well, I'm glad you were able to make it for your first time catching me live. Hopefully you're enjoying yourself. I don't normally fan things on stream, but you know what? Today is a special day where we really need this guy to dry, and he's been taking forever because I really laid on the Knoll oil heavily. Come on, bud. How are you looking? How are you looking? You are looking more dry. Your eyes are almost completely dry. Hell yeah. Let's keep going. There we go. Oh yeah. No, they are super, like, the old Khorne models are honestly amazing. I completely agree with you. I don't handle those ones much though, because they're, you know, they're lead and everything. Cultist could use his lungs. You know, he could. He could, but I don't really. I like him not being out of breath. So I'm gonna probably avoid that. I'll just keep fanning it. It's working. It is in fact working. It's dumb, but it's working. Swamp Cat, I do have an airbrush, but I don't use it very often. And yes, I could absolutely be using an airbrush to do this, but it would require me to clean it out, set it up, and I feel like by that time, it would actually just be air dried. So, we're gonna not do that today, but it is something I'm gonna keep in mind for the future, because you're actually not the first person to suggest it. No problem, ISP Brother Wolf. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your night. Thank you so much. I will definitely, I'm sure once this is fully dry, we'll get moving on and it'll go very, very smoothly. So thank you very much. I hope you have a good evening, sir. Let Cultist fan the mini. You know what? That's a fair point. I should also have him bring me some grapes and then we can like just really ham it up. Okay, I actually do... There's like one section on his chest that just refuses to dry. Feel the winds of the north! It's cold air that's blowing on me. Dry, Khorne beast! Okay, I think we can start. I think if we start at the top, we can work our way down, and by the time we get down there, it'll be dry. Let me roll up my sleeves for dramatic effect. Now we shall check the paint. Ooh, you're working on a Battletech lance? That sounds awesome, Wildcat. Luca, you're a Khorne fan, obviously, because, you know, you like the fires and flames and the blood and the skulls. It's what all Khorne fans like. Alright, let's get some dry brushing done. We're gonna just dab our brush into this white. Get a bunch of it off. Check out how we're doing on our hand. It's looking pretty good. I don't want it to be too heavy with paint, but I also don't want it to be too light with paint. And now, start on the boy. I'm going to do this very gently. Oh yeah. This is gonna look so cool. We'll need to use my smaller brush probably to get some of the details on him, but that's fine. We'll do the big areas first, and then we'll come back in for the details. Oh, that is immediately looking super good. Doing exactly what I want. What do you guys think so far? Coming across pretty well. I'm immediately loving what this is doing over all of his muscles to bring them out. Sometimes, like, there's a part of me that just wants to do an army completely in grayscale just because I enjoy this process. Like, this to me is just so much fun. My guide is popping off of this thing. Switch to a cap that has more putty on it, because I am pushing him right off. There we go. There we go. Let's go back to the side we were working on. I think I need to put a little bit more paint back on my brush. Yep. Alright, let's keep going. A little trash can hat, BB? That sounds so cute. Aww. That's really, really cute sounding. Oh, and Andy, you're working on assembling a Batman. Oh, that's really cool. Like, is it a model for Batman, or is it like action figures and you're setting up like a scene for like figure photography? Both would be amazing. Oh yeah, no, the Army Painter dry brushes are absolutely fantastic. I completely agree with you. Oh, very cool. I love the Zero. Such a great plane. This is looking really good. I'm focusing on the Bloodthirster first, and then we'll move on to our Juggernaut afterwards. Let me get his little butt. Dry brush your little butt. There we go. Some more of the fins. There we go. I love that. Love that. I think I'm out of paint again, so let me just get some more out of the bottle. Right? It looks totally fabulous. I'm a big fan in, like, traditional mediums of, like, chiaroscuro, which is the, like, when you use a lot of, like, really heavy, like, shadows and highlights and have a lot of really bold colors like that. Or not colors, but, like, gradations. I think it was used a lot in, like, some Dutch, art in the... My art history teachers are going to facepalm because I do not remember. I want to say it was like the 1800s, but it could have also been the 1600s or the 1400s. I don't remember. But there's a certain time period where they had this, like, it was just really gorgeous artwork. There's this one dude, I think it's like, I don't remember what the name of the artist is, but basically it's this dude with a skull and like the light, it's like a candle lit, and that's the only source of light. So like everything is cast in these elaborate, beautiful, deep shadows, and I just fucking love it. That's one of the reasons I love black and white art so much. It always reminds me of that kind of stuff. So like doing this just looks so cool, and it really does make me want to do just like a whole army like this. Ryu Mav, I know exactly which ones you're talking about, and I actually have... Oh god, that's way heavier than I need it to be. Hold on. I know exactly which ones you're talking about, and I actually have, like... I don't know, I think like 7 or 8 of those. Some of them actually still in the blisters, actually. I bought off of somebody locally some Bretonnian Knights, and they happen to have a bunch of just, like, random other... demons and chaos dwarves and all sorts of things. So I got like a bunch of random chaos models that included, like I said, some chaos dwarves, so some like OG metal chaos dwarves, and as well as some of the original juggernauts. And they're fucking so cool. I love them. Yes, if you have, like, if you can base your models in a primer color that works super well for your army color, that is always such a time saver. I completely agree with you there. I can imagine that might have saved you some time on your, Tyranids for sure. This is looking so cool. Definitely gonna need that smaller brush, though, to go back in and get some details. And because he's going to end up being red, I do want the white portion to be a bit more pronounced, so that we really get that Khorne red coloring, you know? Alright, let's go ahead and start moving down onto the armor of his mount. And getting some of those bigger flat areas some more. Refresh my brush, make sure that we do not overload it with paint like we just did. There we go. That's looking fine. Oops, sorry. Slightly off screen. There we go. Yeah, I'm loving how this is looking. I think it's gonna look really cool once we get contrast colors onto it. Maybe I won't do true metallics. No, I should do true metallics. Should I do true do true metallics, or could I do this all in contrast? Never done, like, I've never actually painted a Khorne creature purely in contrast. I'll think about it. I'll think about it. Oh, that... Okay, cool. It's for that Batman game. I know which one you're talking about. That's awesome. Very, very cool. BB, I hope you have a great day at work. Hopefully everything is fine and dandy for you. Thank you for stopping by while you could. I'll see you next time. Sarah, welcome back. I understand when the cats demand attention, you just must give them the attention. It is the way. It is the kitty way. Alright, that is looking pretty excellent. It's so good. This technique is just so fun. It's very satisfying. The other thing that I like about doing this is it really, for me, really helps me see what all is actually happening on these models. Because sometimes, you know, they're really busy. Shit's just like going all over the place, especially on chaos models. So having the grisaille over top of it, highlighting certain things, actually helps my eye pick things out and go, oh, I need to do X or whatever for, you know, that detail, because that really stands out to me, and I don't want to just leave it, you know, the same color as the other stuff around it. I want to actually make it stand out. Marcos, I have only tried oil paints on canvas. I have never tried them on miniatures, and honestly, it's not part of, like, it's one of the few things in the hobby that actually does not appeal to me. I never really liked working with oil paints when I was doing my college, like, classwork and everything, which I didn't have to much, thankfully, but I did occasionally, and I never really liked it. And I don't really know if I would like it now, because part of my problem with oils is that they take forever to dry, which on one hand is very nice because you can constantly be reworking things, but I don't like to rework my models that often. I like to be done with them and then not have to touch them again, except to play with them. So I don't know, the concept of it just doesn't quite appeal to me. Like, I've seen some really cool looking stuff like it. I just don't have the desire to do it myself. But you know what? I've said that about other things in the past, so who knows? Maybe down the line you'll eventually see me trying oils. Get his spine a little bit here. Bring out some of these highlights. Oh yeah, Swamp Cat. I absolutely gravitate towards certain colors. I will, like, there will always be, generally, something green on most of my projects. I like painting green so much. My main army's Death Guard, so lots of green. The next army that I picked was Orcs. Lots of green. I also enjoy painting BL Tan. Lots of green. Cadians are also really fun to paint. Also green. I really like green. But I also paint a lot with purples and blues. A lot of cool color tones. But then at the same time, I paint with the rainbow. I'm not gonna lie, I paint with the rainbow. But green is definitely the color I would say I paint with the most. Although there shall probably be no green on this particular project, because it's Khorne. And we're all about that red, that orange, and that yellow. And then a lot of golds and brasses and bronzes and metal color tones. Not a lot of greens. I just threw my brush at myself. You know, that is a fair point. I've never tried the oil washes or anything like that, but I also don't like my stuff to look shiny necessarily. Like, it's one of the reasons I actually don't regularly paint with true metallics, because I actually find them to be aggressively shiny unless really coated in, like, a lot of wash or something like that, and so I tend to not like to use them. That's why I use just, you know, Basilicanum Gray most often for like when I need to do silvers or whatever. And so I don't know if I would like the shininess of that wash either. But it's an interesting idea, and I definitely should like maybe try it. Or at least look into it a bit more, because I haven't really looked into it in a while. This is really coming along very nicely. I'm quite pleased. Make sure we stay on camera, Angela. Sorry I'm keep drifting. It's because I'm like pushing myself off to the side, you know? This is... If you just search Warhammer painting music, it's the one titled Something to Listen to While Painting, Playing, Reading, Warhammer 40k Soundtrack Compilation. It is just a collection of, various tracks from, I think, Warhammer sound, like video games and such. So like you'll probably hear some stuff from, I think, Dawn of War. There's definitely been some Mechanicus in here for sure. I've heard that a couple of times. Yeah, it's a really good just like compilation playlist of 40k themed music. I thought it was appropriate while we were painting some 40k models. How are you guys feeling so far? About what we're seeing about 10th edition. Are you guys liking what we're seeing changes-wise to, like, say, the stat lines? Or, how we muster our armies now? Oh, Shadow the Horned Rat probably does have a great OST, doesn't it? It's a great call. That's true. If you use cardboard, I could definitely see that working to help absorb the oil a little bit faster. We'll see. Like I said, it's not a medium that's appealed to me. I am a watercolorist, first and foremost. So oil is kind of the complete opposite to that, and I that's one of the reasons I don't prefer it as much. So much messier, in my opinion, too. But I also haven't worked with it in a long time, so I am not a good source for that. Or at least I'm a biased source on that. Alright, let's start working on his face. Dude, I completely agree the additions come faster than you can model and paint. Well, that's part of the thing with their detachments now, at least, though. Like, that problem, literally right there, is kind of why I think they're slightly doing this new approach instead of doing the sub-factions idea, because then you can just keep working on what you've been working on, and you just run whatever detachment rules that, you know, fit your playstyle that you like the most, but you can still just run your boys as... You know, I don't know what you're painting specifically, but I'm just going to say if it was my stuff, I could just continue to paint my army as Blood Angels, but maybe actually run them as Crimson Fists, or give them a Imperial Fist style detachment because I like that play style a bit more, but I prefer the color scheme of the Blood Angels. It's an interesting idea. It just feels sort of odd. I mean, I'm sure I could build that plane, but I don't have that plane, so probably not easily. Will I? I mean, maybe, but if I'm gonna go back to doing models, like military models and such, I'm actually thinking of going back and doing another tank. I have really been wanting to build up another tank model. I think that would be fun. All right, let's make sure your teeth are nice and bright. Because I could do them in metal, but I kind of want them to be organic still. Like, his tongue is metal, and I like that, but I kind of want his teeth to actually be organic. Is that not Khorne enough, though? Should his teeth also be a metal? Right? Tanks are so much fun. We haven't decided what specifically I'd want to build, but I definitely have been wanting to build some more tanks. Picking up a Horus Heresy tank would be fun too, actually. Like, completely different, not as nearly as realistic of a model, but it'd still be pretty fun. Sometimes you get fibers when you're dry brushing, and I find that if you just like tweeze them away, you can kind of clean it up, and then you don't have to worry about it as much and having them get stuck. Okay, I think, whoa, magnets. They do work. I think I now need to switch to this smaller brush to start actually getting into some of these more tucked away areas. Although, I can get this leg with the big brush. Let's try doing that. That doesn't super matter if it's grisailed, because it's going to be metallic, and you're not going to see the grisaille through the metallic, so am I going to worry about it as much? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no that I'm not going to worry about it as much. I understand that problem completely, Thordalian. I think I said your name correctly, I hope I do. When it comes to you're talking about your Space Wolves and how, you sometimes have a problem with getting consistency of, like, the blue tone. That's actually one of the reasons I like contrast so much. I find I can get a better consistency with my color across, like, different models with contrast colors than I can mixing my, like, opaque paints, which I don't know why that is the case. It just seems to be the way that it happens for me, and I wish I could mix paints better and, like, have them, like, and just be more consistent. But I'm terrible. Like, even if I write the recipes down, I'm just terrible about it. Matthew, thank you, first of all, for the donation. Amazing. And to answer your question, have I ever gotten into Underworlds? I have. I've played a very small amount of Underworlds, like, as a game, but I actually love the models. I will admit, though, not the current season we're in, but the previous season, I wasn't as thrilled with the sets that they were coming out with, I will be honest. But this newer season's looking really, really cool, and I kind of want to get the new starter set if it's not already out. I actually forgot to check and see when that was actually releasing, but I do enjoy what I have played of Underworlds, although I have not played with some of the more advanced stuff that they've come out recently, but I love the models. Love collecting those sets. I think my favorite one to paint was there was a Lizardman set like a couple of seasons ago that was just really cool. And I did all the lizards up in some really bright, bold colors. It's the one that came with the first chameleon with the blow dart. That set. There we go. That's looking a bit more even. Nice circular motions. Brush. There we go. Right, let's get in there and start doing that underbelly. Making sure we got all of him done. Our little rider, because I don't think I got his chest very well. Hey John, welcome to the stream. Glad you made it home all right. Okay, that's what I thought. I was like, I didn't think the newer one that they had just announced was out because they just talked about it on a... What is going on? Ah, I have paint dried in this brush weirdly. Okay, let me switch brushes and I'll deal with that. Where is... There it is. Oh, I'm very irritated by that. I just, like, that brush I think might have had a little bit of paint dry in it in a way that's not good. And I think that was partially causing some of my problems that I was just having. So we'll switch to this one, which is my more beat up one, but hopefully it'll be fine. Make sure to get excess paint off, and... Okay, yeah, that is working better. I was getting some really harsh lines on sections I had just been working on, and I was concerned because it was his face. And I didn't like it. I didn't like what was happening. I'm going to take it off for a bit more control. Get his little tongue inside of his mouth. Make sure we get his gums and his teeth are nice and bright. Smooth up the helmet a little bit. Should be okay. I think once we get the contrast paint on, it'll smooth it up as well. But I was getting some, like, little bit of harshness on some of the flat surfaces because I was too overloaded with paint. Because there were some dried pieces in there, and it was getting stuck to it and dragging it around in a disgusting sort of way. Ugh. Oh. I completely agree. I agree with you, Matthew, about the soul blights and them being really, really cool. I think that, yes. Dude, you also, like, Soul Blight players also got hit because of all the Cursed City models, which also had some really cool stuff that I think are usable for that army, right? Talk about a wasted game system that got completely screwed because of the world situation. Like, their production was the most borked, I think, with the launch of that particular game. And it just destroyed its chances. Which is such a shame, because I wanted to be way more into it than I ended up being because of everything that happened with it. Be gentle. Be gentle with his little tongue, but we do want to brighten it up. We also need to hit in there. Ooh, I might even need the smaller dry brush. Let's bring out the God Hand dry brushes! Get a tiny amount of paint on there. Take the majority of it right back off. And... test it. Yep. There we go. There we go. Now we've hit all those little bumps on his head. It is looking fantastic. Oh, and I can actually do a little bit more of a controlled thing on his tongue. These tiny dry brushes are fantastic! would recommend. I'll leave links. I'll update the video description at some point, and I'll put links to them if they aren't already there. Because these brushes are actually quite lovely. I am very grateful that God hand sent them to me. Oh yeah, no, we're definitely gonna be having some Balthazar gold probably on this boy. I'm definitely going to be using some true metallics. I was debating doing that, but I've decided that I think it's necessary. It's Khorne. He likes the metal. He enjoys all of the metal. And I think we need to represent that on this model. This is working almost too well. God. It really does, like, the effect of it is just too good. Okay. Although it is going to be a pain in the butt to do this, like, front of his armor piece with this tiny brush. Also his chest. Let's get those abs visible, boy. There we go. Armor. I guess it's not going to be super important. It will be mostly covered, but, you know. We want to make sure it looks good, right? We want to make sure it looks good if somebody comes up and starts doing this to it. I'm not going to be that anal about it, but I'm just enjoying this. I'm just enjoying this process, so I'm going to go a little extra on it. I think it's fun because you start to see it slowly appearing. You know, you see the highlights slowly appearing and you're like, oh, it's so smooth and fancy and clean and fun looking. And it's gonna do amazing things for my other colors later. Woohoo! He's definitely gonna like death metal. Like I said, I'm pretty sure he likes all types of metal. Alright. How am I feeling about this? Let's do an inspection. I think I need a little bit more here. Because this is his armor. It's still going to be painted red, so I want it to definitely stand out. Do I have too much paint? No. Yeah, I get really nice blends with this. I need to look and see if they have some larger sizes of this dry brush too. So that way I can compare it to the Army Painter one and see if I like one or the other more. Damn. It's these rounded tips, man. If you have not tried a dry brush with rounded tips, I highly recommend it. Let's get crazy, exactly. As Bob Ross would say, let's get crazy. We're just gonna go to town. Dry brushing everything. I mean, it does look really cool. Oh, I just thought of another way I can pull out some metallics. Do I have... Where are... Oh, they are. Ooh, let's not knock over our water. Let's see. Let's see. Of my metallics, I have a titanium, which does have a little bit of yellow. I do have a copper. We have a yellow. Okay, those aren't any metallics. This has a silver and the gunmetal. I am going to be using the soot. Soot is definitely happening on this boy. Now, do I have any other... Burnt red. Burnt red. Ooh. Are you actually metallic? Excuse me. Get out of here. We're not at this step, but I'm thinking about it. My brain, you guys got me thinking about metal. Because I am going to be using some weathering powders on this guy. And I am now debating, I'm back to the point of where do I want to go with true metallics are not on this, because I could fake it with this. That is a really nice burnt orange that I could put over top. Ooh, I could put it over top with how orange to get a really nice bronze. I might test that. I have time on this guy, because this is not for this week's video. As I mentioned, I'm gonna do a Q&A on Friday, a recorded one, not a live stream one, but a recorded Q&A of some questions that I've gotten from people for the 4,000 subscribers, like, special. And so this guy is gonna probably be next week, and I might test that to see what that looks like, because I feel like that could look really, really cool. Ooh, copper teeth would look, that could be a good way to use that in enhance, and like, I like that idea, Sarah. I like that idea. I like what you're thinking. Let's make sure to get his abs on this side. Apparently I did not. Alright, his legs are looking absolutely fabulous. His butt's looking cute. I think I am satisfied with the spines. Let's enhance them a little bit, actually. They're gonna get a dry brushing of, like, probably yellows and oranges, so it's not gonna be too bad, but I do like where that's going. I feel like I need a little bit more paleness on this. Not because you're actually getting a lot of light on it, but just because I want the red of the armor to kind of stand out. And I'm going to brighten up his tongue, because I'm probably going to do that in pink. And I want it to stand out as well. Go figure that I am highlighting the things that I want to stand out more. I agree with you, Rabbit Burner. He is absolutely the Rammstein god. Absolutely he is. Khorne, that is. The blood god. Didn't they have, like, a final tour recently, Rammstein? I thought they might have. I feel like I saw, like, a music video or something announcing it, or, like, some sort of... I thought I saw something related to them very recently. About how they might be having, like, a farewell tour or something. But I could also be completely wrong, so please do correct me. Just really making sure that his flesh is going to take this red color tones as the way that I want it to, which is why I'm kind of being a little anal about his colors. How much gray to white to dark there is. Because, like, the horns, for example, on the backside here need a bit more of their highlight back. And the very tip, I feel like, should be more like white than anything else. Alright, that is looking cool. That is looking very cool. I have not done the underside of his sword at all. My goodness. Also, where are we at? 2:30. I might actually take a very short break here in a moment, just to get myself a little bit of caffeine. I just realized I didn't do the backside of his sword either. Just ignoring whole sections of the model. Classic Angela. pretty swell. I don't know what I'm gonna do on the sword yet, actually. So I'm gonna kind of highlight the edges heavily if I want to do like a fiery effect. I think I could get something cool by doing that. So I'm gonna focus on the edges. Literally giving myself an edge highlight. But with dry brushing, so it's smoother, and honestly I kind of like it that way. Okay, that's looking pretty cool. Now let's do that on the other side, because I did not. I did sort of the... Oh, I did like a lighter one, but I want it to be more prominent. That's a little too much paint still, though. There we go. That's better. Oh yeah, that's looking pretty cool. I'm enjoying that a lot. Are they still going strong? Okay, I swear I thought I had seen something saying that they were doing like a farewell tour, but maybe it was somebody else. Maybe it was a different like metal band that was doing that. Well, good. I'm glad that they're still doing stuff. I do enjoy their music. Maybe I just saw... Maybe it was just that they had a new album coming out, and that's all it was. And I just, like, completely took it the wrong way. Who knows? I don't follow music very well at all. Alright, I am feeling pretty good about that. What I'm not feeling good about is his collar. His collar looks weak. It does not look grizzled enough, so we're going to work on that next. You know what? You're not wrong. I do think a lot of the best music is happening in gaming. Have any of you guys been playing the new Steam version of Dwarf Fortress? And if so, what do you think of it? I've been trying it out for the first time. Like, I've never played Dwarf Fortress before. But with the new Steam version, that's a little bit easier for me to, like, tell what the fuck is happening. I checked it out, and I'm really having a fun time with it so far. I don't know if I'm playing it, like, well at all. But I really enjoy stuff like not Skyrim, RimWorld, and it's very, like, I mean, RimWorld is very reminiscent of OG Dwarf Fortress, so this is feeling very reminiscent of all of that, so I'm enjoying it. Focusing on his eyeball a little bit real quick with this tiny brush so that I can brighten it up, because I think I'm going to make it a yellow to give him, like, a really nice, like, glowy eye. Do the same thing on this side. There we go. It's just like some fleshy bits underneath this armor that I'm trying to hit with more paint for when we do that section. So maybe get a little bit more there on the teeth. Yeah. Oh, and then this, the inside of his legs. Ooh, that's too much paint. Spread it around quickly before it dries. Actually, that worked out really well, so I'm pleased. There we go. That is looking like it's actually got some paint on it. And those motions, like in what I did there, was intentional rather than being a forgotten afterthought. Which is never good. Some paint there. I am starting to feel pretty confident here. I still have a little bit more dry brushing that I want to do. Like, I really want this guy to look cool before I begin. To just make the whole process that much cooler. Like, I don't know. I feel like if you take your time at the beginning, when you're starting off on your projects, and really, like, you know, care about what you're doing there, you'll end up with even more awesome results because all of that care that you took will translate into every other step that you've done, you know? Nice! Do you painstakingly pick out exceptionally good starting people, or do you just, like, roll with whatever they give you, Sarah, when you're playing RimWorld? Because one of the things that I like about Dwarf Fortress is, like, your starting dwarves always seem to be generally pretty good. Like, they're healthy, they don't really have any problems, they're, you know, in okay-ish moods generally, like, they aren't immediately just a shitstorm. Which I think sometimes can happen in RimWorld, even when you're not playing it on that style of the game. Okay. I am feeling pretty good about that. I am going to take a very brief, like, 5-minute break, and then I'll be right back. We'll inspect him, and I don't really actually think I'm going to get too much started on anything else because I don't want to have to stop mid, like, stream and not finish him and then it be awkward for the recording for the YouTube tutorial that will be coming out later. But I figure we can, like, do an inspection and check him out and see how we like him. All right, I will be right back, guys. I will see you in just a second. Alright, I came back and I immediately saw a section that I thought needed more paint. So I'm gonna keep working. Sarah, I completely agree with you. I also try to sort of adjust their starting skills and at least get, like, decent ones so that they're not just flailing. And maybe have a little bit of a better chance to survive. I, like, missed the shoulder on this boy somehow. I didn't like the way that it looks, so I'm touching it up. Alright. That's feeling better. we got chanting. Things have gotten so dramatic. Alright. Yeah, I am feeling actually pretty darn confident about this lad. Which means that I think he is probably going to be very ready for my next steps. Which I do think I've decided I'm going to just strictly do it in a flat red, because I'm going to be dry brushing some oranges and yellows onto him to give him a little bit more of a like built up fiery effect and even enhance further what we've done, which I think will look really cool. The main thing that I need to decide is like which sections of the Juggernaut's armor are going to be painted versus which parts are going to be metallic. Now I think I'm just going to be doing the trim and the spikes in metallics, and I'm going to be doing everything else in color. But I need to figure out, like, for example, what I'm doing with, like, on his legs. So he's got a bunch of, like, these, like, pistons and stuff built into his flesh to make him semi-mechanical, semi-flesh. And I don't know if I want to do those sections maybe in like, a non-metallic metal. Ooh. I could, because then I could do the glaze of the weathering powders over top of it to basically enhance that color, kind of like what I did on my... Ooh, I like that plan, actually. That might be what I do. Because he's got, like, this, like, I don't know how well you guys can see it specifically, but in this leg, you can see that there's some, like... It's almost like superhero armor, like when Iron Man has his like metal that sort of like bends and curves to him rather than is flat. It's got that kind of feel to it, and that's why I'm thinking I kind of want to do it maybe non-metallic, and that way I have a mix of both. Yes, I think that's what I'm going to end up doing. Very, very cool. Thank you, Marcos. I also think he looks really cool. I guess I can enhance that a little bit more. Oh, okay. Apparently I didn't paint that at all. I just got dust on it. So let me actually get some white paint out. I thought I had, like, nicely dusted his spine. It turns out I literally dusted his spine and didn't actually put paint on it. Whoops. Here I was thinking I was done. Ah, yes. I can tell that that's actual paint now. I can't believe I almost did that. Oopsie daisy. I guess I just must not have hit this section. So where? I feel like I'm getting like a lot of fibers. And I'm trying to clean them up. This is my... Yeah, I'm getting a lot of like brush fibers stuck to the model. Just helps smooth away some of those and actually smooth the paint out a little bit too. Roy Gansney, welcome from South Africa. That's a really, really cool. Thank you for stopping in and checking out the stream. Hopefully you were having a wonderful day and or evening. I actually don't know what time it is in South Africa, but hello, hello. Greetings, Otto. Welcome to the stream as well. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, that's looking better. Get the side of his tongue a little bit more. Brighten that up, because we do want it to be like a really nice bright pink. And then his horns here could use a little bit more too. There's always an angle that I missed. Always. Somewhere. Okay. Yes. Like this, for example, just going back to the music, is a Mechanicus song. For sure. And it's such a good game. Such a good game. The Mamba Games, have a good day at work. Thank you for stopping by and hanging out with me for a little bit while I paint. It was a pleasure to have you. Such a good song. This is probably one of my favorite soundtracks. I will fully admit that. Just had some really solid music in it. And you just can't deny it. No one can. You know, I really have to admit, I didn't think that I would enjoy this super tiny dry brush as much as I do. But it does give me a wild amount of control. I realize, by the way, that you guys probably can't see what I'm doing right now. I'm working on his belly. Let's see if can I move it this way and still get the side that I need to work on? Maybe. Maybe. Let me see if I can do it that way. Dude, 218 hours of Mechanicus? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Such a good game. That's me with Total War. Although even more hours. I'm afraid to say even more hours for me spent in Total War. And there'll be even more very soon with the Chaos Dwarves, because they're going to be amazing. I've not actually played Dwarves that often, because I've been just holding myself out for the Chaos Boys, because I know I'm just going to enjoy them more, because I freaking love Chaos so much more than I love Order. I'm sorry, Order, I love you. But I do love Chaos more. And I can't wait. Can't wait to try them out. They'll be stout, and strong, and durable, and they'll have lots of cannons! So many cannons. And it's gonna be glorious. It's gonna be so glorious. Okay. Now that is a Grisaille. It really does look cool. One day I am just gonna do an army like this. I don't know what it's gonna be. There was a point where, like, Chaos Cultist and I had actually started a Chaos army, like, undivided. And we were going to just do Black Legion in basically a Grisaille technique, and then just do the trim in a metallic. And I really actually like that effect, and I still have a bunch of them. I started it. Maybe I'll go back to that at some point, because I really, this technique, like doing the dry brushing, is so fun. Like, I don't know if you guys are fans of dry brushing. I know a couple of you mentioned that you were, but like, I love it. Hello, 15 Chad 11 Git. Get toll? I'm gonna call you Chad. I would just wait for the refresh. Absolutely, yes. And in no way would I recommend anybody, like, if you want to start collecting models and start working on whatever color scheme you want to go with, considering that is not going to be tied to your army rules anymore, then by all means go ahead and get started on that. But in regards to, like, familiarizing yourself with the rules, learning the core rules for 9th edition, don't. Just don't. Don't spend any money on any of those books, because they're worthless in, like, in 3 months. Less than 3 months, actually, like 2 months. Because I think 10th edition's coming out in June. I don't know when in June, or if it is officially June. These are rumors, but I do feel like we're looking at probably a June release date. Just wait until 10th edition's out. Wait for the new system to be there. That's what all of the tournaments and what a lot of your local scenes will probably transition into relatively quickly. So unless your scene, like your local scene, is specifically like, no, we're playing 9th edition still, I would just go ahead and wait for the new edition. Maybe start getting some models that you like, but that's about it. Not great. I have Zenithal with an airbrush once. I do like it. I just don't tend to use my airbrush a huge amount. Like, I have one, but I'm always worried about fumes, and so I don't tend to break it out very often, especially during the winter season, which is what we've been in recently. So when we get into the warmer season, I'm looking to hopefully try it out a little bit more. Maybe do a little bit more Zenithal priming with it. But there is a certain, like, obviousness sometimes to when a model is airbrushed versus hand painted that I don't enjoy as much. So I don't think about airbrushing as often as maybe I should, despite having a fairly nice one that I could probably be using more regularly. See, there you go. Absolutely. I think that is the perfect thing to do, Chad. Just get your Hormagaunts, start practicing painting them, because you'll probably need more Hormagaunts anyway, so you can always experiment with a few of them to see what color scheme you may want to play around with. And I always recommend going for whatever you think is just going to look coolest. Go always with the rule of cool when you are picking a new army, when you're picking a new color scheme. Really, it doesn't matter what it is that you're picking, but tend to go for the rule of cool in this instance, because I just find that you're going to probably enjoy yourself more if you pick something that you actually like. So that's definitely just like my recommendation to anybody ever. If you're getting new into a game, pick based on the rule of cool. I disagree that it's faster to paint with an airbrush. I feel like I can paint just as fast with my contrast paints as I could with an airbrush, considering the amount of time and cleanup and having to switch out the colors and stuff that there are. So while I do think there may be some aspects of an airbrush that might speed up your process, for example, doing a Zenithal Prime might be a little bit faster than what I spent time doing here, but this was also just very enjoyable for me. So I think it's really a matter of like how you're using it, what you're doing, and your personal preference. No, I've definitely seen a painting booth, and I actually think I have. One. I just haven't tried it out yet. Is it a painting booth or is it a photo booth? I think it's a painting booth. Pretty sure it's a painting booth. But I just haven't used it yet. It's been a little too cold for me to like open my window and vent. So Otto, in regards to like the rules within those codexes, they will hold no value whatsoever. In regards to the extra printed material like the lore and maybe the information about the various chapters and that kind of thing, yes, that will always be valuable, sure, to somebody who might find that information valuable in printed form where they've wanted to spend money on it. But in my opinion right now, if you are strictly buying codexes to play the game for a purely rules reason, don't do it right now. We've got 10th edition right around the corner. They're going to be dropping all of the units data sheets for free for you to download and to print out and do whatever you want with. They also are going to be selling them if you really want to have a physical copy of something. But I would not get the codexes unless you are just specifically either a collector, and then more power to you. I get that. I understand it. I'm not going to hold it against you. But like, if you're not just doing it to collect them because you like the pretty art and you want the lore inside, I really don't think buying the codexes right now is at all worth your money. Hydra 3-4, I can completely understand how an airbrush might completely change your process for pre-shading in that way. I can totally see that. That's totally fair, and I totally can see some people getting some better detail out of it. I just find airbrushes to be a little, like, clunky for me. Maybe it's because my hands are smaller and I actually, like, I don't know, I get really worn out holding the button down and, like, controlling it like that. It strains my fingers more than holding a brush, so I just don't, you know, enjoy it quite as much, but I totally respect that there are plenty of people out there that enjoy using an airbrush, and almost exclusively use an airbrush sometimes even, and there's nothing wrong with that. The nice thing is it's art, and you can create art however you want, and there are going to be some ways that you're going to find hyper enjoyable. There's going to be other ways that you maybe don't find as enjoyable, and you have the choice to choose which one you do, and that's the best part about it. I love art for that reason. It's just, you can be as creative and expressive as you want in a huge number of ways, and it's very cool because everybody can do it a little bit differently, and it still gets amazing, amazing results. No problem, Otto. My pleasure. I'm always happy to give some advice. You're very welcome. I am always, like I said, very happy to give you guys some advice. I think it's a good way for us to end the stream, and honestly, like, I love talking with you guys about these kinds of things because it's good. This is how you find out better ways to paint things that you want to. This is how you find out, like, you know, is a product worth purchasing? Should you, you know, invest in something? Like, it's always good to sort of hash those things out, like those kinds of ideas out with people, to make sure that you're making the right decisions before you commit, especially when you're spending money. Especially if it's something that is a luxury thing that you maybe really don't need necessarily, you know, like, that is also one of the other things, is like, a lot of this stuff is all luxury products that none of us really need, but we all want it because it brings us joy, right? That's the best way to buy things that bring you joy. No problem, Weasels. It was my pleasure hosting the stream for you guys. I am going to now clean my brushes because I've kind of let them start to dry, so I really need to get to these before I ruin all of my dry brushes. But I am really pleased with how our Berserker has started to come out. The Grisaille looks amazing. The next time you guys see him will, if it's not on my next Tuesday stream where I may be working on another aspect of him, it'll definitely be on a Friday video where we'll have a painting tutorial about him, hopefully. And we'll be able to see how awesome he looks. And like I said, I've got a lot of plans for this guy. You guys maybe got to hear a little bit of that if you were here through the whole stream. But I am going to go ahead and call it, wash up my hands, wash up my brushes, and I don't know what I'm going to do after this, but we'll figure it out. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If you did enjoy this, make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment on YouTube if you're watching this after the stream is over. That is always very, very helpful. And after this, maybe go check out the hobby news today. We talked about 10th edition, so it should be very, very cool. Oh, my video has paused. This is a perfect time for us to leave because my music has decided, you know what, you've been listening long enough and we're just going to pause this. So thank you guys so much for being here. It was, as always, very, very lovely to see you all. Have a wonderful hobby night, everybody. Bye.